What would you rather do than doing this? What did you say?
Oh, I'd rather wank myself off with razor wire.
Yeah, that's the one. That's what you'd rather do than talk about that loss. And you know what? It's fair dues. Fair dues.
G'day, this is the Two Beards Wrexham Podcast, your go-to for all things Wrexham AFC. Join us as we chat about the highs and lows of our favourite footy club. She'll be right, mate. G'day, Beard Brother and Sheila's fuckheads and just all-round bloody legends. I'm your host, Rousey. That is Adrian. Welcome back to another week of Two Beards Wrexham Podcast. The Wrexham Podcast brought to you by two bearded, bald Aussies because, you know, we think we have authority to speak on Welsh stuff.
Yeah.
Look, I really didn't want to do this week. This really...
Nah,
after
you didn't.
this morning's effort, I was like, oh, fuck, here we go.
Nah, you didn't. You told me, you messaged me, and it's so funny because I'm like, I'll text him just to see, you know, because we both watched the game, but because it's so early, it's kind of MIA. You just kind of watch it in your bed and you just kind of like, you know, you keep to yourself. And then I messaged him being like, you know, tonight should be fun. And he's just like, what did you say? You have to say it again. What was it?
I said, mate, I would rather wank myself off with razor wire than have to relive that. Dude, that sucks. But we'll get into those games. But I just want to touch on something that we brought up last week in last week's podcast. And that's this issue of Paul Mullen. Now,
yes.
I happened to say in last week's podcast, I said, I think that it's possibly going to be the last time we see Paul Mullen and Ollie Palmer together on the field, because my gut was telling me that we were going to have Sam Smith, Jay Rodriguez starting, and then Stephen Fletcher and Jack Marriott coming off the bench. And sure enough, that actually freaking happened. Yeah, and then it happened again, and then we lost, but we'll get into the loss. But I just wanted to say, I mean, because there was an article that came out that apparently Parky has actually said that Paul Mullen is fully fit, but he's not getting in the squad. So what do we make of this, Adrian? Is this the end of an era?
I'm literally just going through the article that kind of came out. Wrexham Insider did a really good post about it. You know, Wrexham may have struggled on the road this season, but Phil Parkinson is enjoying a decent run away from home. Obviously, we're talking about this Northampton game specifically where we won, and obviously we'll go into that a little later. But the big one was 4 games, 4 wins across all competitions, and we were in a pretty good spot, you know, until this morning. Obviously, Paul Mullen was nowhere to be seen, and Mullen has been out injured of late, but Parky confirmed through the leader. So the leader interviewed him and he said he was simply just left out against Northampton, claims that he's fully fit and ready to go. And he's actually really sharp in training. So what I make of that is, I don't know. I think what you've said is correct. I think, I don't think it's the last we'll see of him. But I think it's just something that it's quite telling. You know, usually it's because he's injured, and then that's the only reason he's ever out of the side. To be in a form slump that he is, and to be, you know, sidelined, I don't know. I think it's a bit of Parky wizardry at play. Hopefully, is that he's just trying to make him rev up, and kind of be like, fuck this. I'm 30 years old. I'm not past my prime. I can do this. What the fuck is going on? A 38-year-old's playing, but I'm not. What the fuck is going on? And if I'm him, that's kind of the mindset I'm going with. I'm in a better physical state than this bloke. I'm in a club that I've been in longer than this bloke, and he's taken my spot. Not in a rude way, because these are teammates at the end of the day, but as strikers, you do have that ego, and we talk about it all the time on this podcast, that the ego of a striker, unfortunately, sometimes needs to be a bit selfish. And I think hopefully this is Parky saying, sit aside, stew for a little bit, and when you come back, fucking prove me wrong. And I'm hoping that's the case. But
Well, I think. Look, you look at his form leading into when he obviously was taken off the team before J Rod and Sam Smith came in, and his form wasn't that good. And
no,
everyone
of course
was
not.
commenting on it. Everyone was saying, "Has he hit his level?" Now, I actually think he's possibly just hit a form slump because there have been people that have gone from League Two to Championship teams and done really well. And I think that Paul Mullen could possibly be that person, maybe not that person for us this season. He might have a chance to step up next season in the championship. I don't know. It's football, anything can happen. But it does feel like the end of an era to me. Anyway.
I mean, it does and it doesn't. I just think, fuck, I went on a rant about it about a couple months back, which I just said, guy's a fucking legend. Let him have a shit one. Just let him have a shit one. Let him have a shit season. It's, fuck me. Erling Haaland has had, he's been all right, but he's had a shit season, but no one's asking him to cut his contract short. And I understand it's a fucking different position. He has kicked a lot of goals. I'm not trying to compare the two. But the reason I'm bringing this up is we're in this really hard predicament where we want to be up in the championship, and currently we're at a crossroads of we keep losing games like we did this morning. We are going to be playing playoffs and we will be in a heart-stopping finish at Wembley eventually, I reckon. And whether that goes in our favour or not, who knows? But this is at the point where Parky's trying to make plays here and make the right decisions. Now, here's what I'm thinking. I don't think it's the last we'll see of Paul Mullen. I don't think he's gone. I think we held on to players, and I know it's a bit different in a goalkeeping position, but we kept players like Rob Leyton on for however long past his expiry date. We kept other players on the books. There's a squad for a reason. I'm not saying this guy's starting every week, but I'm not saying he's fucking gone. And he's 30 years of age. If we had have pulled Paul Mullen, let's just say we pulled him from his Cambridge form, right? And came across right now, we signed a 30-year-old in that kind of form, we'd be fucking absolutely laughing, right? So all we're saying is we've got that same guy. He's just not in that form. So everyone relax. Let him have a shit one. We have soldiers in place to back up those people when they're not in form. Ollie Palmer's not in form. No one's talking about him getting out the door. Why? Because in fans' eyes, Paul Mullen has been the saviour.
I don't know about no one. I've seen X and all the rumours about Palmer not going to training or refusing to train or having a hissy fit.
That's rumours galore. I'm talking form-wise. No one's calling for him to be to be gone right away. But
he's well loved. He's scored over 100 goals in however many, like 2 seasons or something. Yeah, I think you're right. Allow him to have a shit one.
Let him have a shit one.
I just don't see him in this current vein of form and being better than the current 4 that we just put out. And that's, that is obviously saying something because, 2 of those guys are quite elderly. But I just don't see him being better than them right now. You want to compare shit seasons. Like Erling Haaland scored 19 goals this season, and that's a shit season for him so far. So
different wage as well. And I think that's where I'm trying to get at is let's put it, we're talking relative in terms of, I'm not comparing him directly. You're talking 3 leagues above. We're talking at least $90 to $100 million more than what Paul Mullen's getting. We're talking absolute different circumstance. But if you talk relative, then let's just kind of let our heroes have a shit one without feeling like they're going to get the sack, because there's 2 ways it goes. It either fires him up and he comes out fucking red hot form and he looks great But then he gets a little jaded, and then all of a sudden he's walking out the door when we don't want him to. Or you got the opposite end of the spectrum where he capitulates further, becomes even worse, and he's on the chopping block come season's end. So, look, for me, it's back him in. He's still a Wrexham player. He's still an incredible club legend. And if I'm building this new cop and I'm looking at possibly putting some statues out, and I know people think it's an overreaction, but I don't think it is. Paul Mullen should definitely be having one of those outside of the cop, along with the legends of old like Mickey Thomas and fucking Trundle.
He hands down established himself as a club legend, and I think he will always be a club legend, and that whole team that got us out of the National League and then out of League Two back to back, it was you can't ever rule them out for the commitment and the toughness that they've shown towards the club. But yeah, I don't know. There is to me a bit of bittersweetness about it, and I do wonder. But should we go up to the championship? He may have a chance to bounce back, and he may actually do well in the championship, but you don't know. But let us know down below in the comments what you think about that, because we would like to get the conversation started on this and what people think about Paul Mullen and where they think that one's going, because it's definitely a strange one. So, who else? Elliot Lee's still out. Elliot Lee, I think we've missed him, but we'll talk about that in the next segment. But
it's a fair point, mate. Like there are people in and out of this side at the moment, whether it's form wise, injury wise. I'm talking Marriott right now. Like, looking at this side, and I'm just going let's go off of the last lineup against the latest lineup, right? In our lineup currently, you've got Maxi Boy, O'Connell, Brunt. Then you got Barnett, Dobson, James, Rathbone, McLean, Smith, and Rodriguez. And then you've got people playing off the bench, like a Marriott, like Fletch. But for me at the moment, you don't have a fully fit Marriott right now because he'd be starting. You don't have, I'd suggest, a informed Stephen Fletcher, because since those couple of goals, it's been a bit hard since the coming back from injury as well. Then you've got Smith and Rodriguez, who, let's be real here, you tell me we brought those players in and we don't beat a Leyton Orient outfit. I'm now saying, now their spots are not guaranteed, because you've got a 30-year-old Paul Mullen who's supposedly sharp on the training pitch. Supposedly.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Because neither of them scored, mate. Like, that's the other big one. Neither of them scored. So, I'm going off of
Smith scored last game.
Yeah, but not this morning.
Not this morning, no. But
at home.
But I think that calls into us getting into some discussion about these games. What do you think? We should go have a break and just really dig into these losses.
Rip into them.
Just rip into them, and just fully tear it apart until we're tearing our clothes off, hey, Adrian?
Like every week.
Yeah, every week, mate. Every week. I think we do it. So, because we can't really talk about Paul Mullen's form without actually, or the form of the club without actually getting into those games. So let's review those games and preview our next game right after this break. And just see where this one goes. Let's do it, guys. After the break. Woohoo! Welcome back. Hope you got your Ned's bet on. Whatever ad popped up. Probably not on YouTube, because we don't put ads on YouTube yet. But if you did get ads, let us know which one you got and give us a shout out. But anyway,
guaranteed erectile dysfunction ads for sure. I feel like this pod would attract not that audience. That's not shitting on you guys. I'm just saying they'd probably go, these bald fuckers would.
So let's talk about the game on the weekend against Northampton. Away, 2-0 win. Goals from first-time goal, classic Route 1 goal with an assist from Mark Howard to Sam Smith. Amazing piece of work. And then obviously our second goal with none other than Ollie Rathbone. As
Fucking,
me, the wife, and Wrexham like to call him Little Ollie or Lolly, which I kind of like. That's pretty cool.
I call him Rathboner because that's what he gives me every week. So
A Rathboner. It gives you a
Rathboner
Rathboner. Fuck.
gives me a Rathboner, mate.
I tell you what, Ollie Rathbone is making a bloody strong case to be player of the season because he just doesn't stop. He
Does
just
not
doesn't
stop,
He
Chief.
reminds me of young Elliot Lee.
Oh, fuck me. Not everyone is.
He might not be as hung as Elliot Lee, but he reminds me of young Elliot Lee.
I just don't understand how everything can be related back to a bloke who's not even fucking playing.
I know, but that's only because he was in a car accident. But
No, we know. No, I'm not
away
shitting
win,
on that.
a 2-0 away win, Adrian. Like, what the fuck's going on? How are we winning all these away games all of a sudden?
Yeah, mate. Honestly, well, someone said something on. Sorry, I'm fucking still tired from this morning, but this game. But the Northampton game is an interesting one. Someone put a very, very good case that the away form has improved because the identity of the club is that of the play. At least the starting lineup has changed dramatically since we were poor form away, right? Dramatically. Like, look at that midfield. Look at the way that the strikers line up. Shit, Chomp in goals. Do you know what I mean? Like, different lineup entirely, right? So there's that end of the coin, and that's what also brings back us to what we'll talk about in the next segment, but also is probably why our home form has been a bit patchy. I think it is a absolute privilege to see an improvement like that and away from home. I think a lot of the time, especially for the away fans, they make the treks. They're up against, bigger crowds than them because, everyone's there for the Wrexham. And, you got 1,000 singing Wrexham fans, which make it seem like a home game every game. So massive shout out to those guys because I think that's a massive play as well. I felt like, not that they were disrespected, but they let the away fans, when we would travel, we were all a little bit let down by the form's attempts away from home, especially against sides should be putting away. Now, your same could be safer at home at the moment, but really, I think it's just the change of identity and bringing in the likes of Smith and Rathbone as well. So what did you make of Smith's first goal, mate, and that assist from Chompers?
Classic Route 1 goal. And I would seriously like to know if there's anyone that any goalkeeper in the league that has an assist like that so far. I don't know if there is, but I mean, look, I've always loved Chomp. I've always backed.
We both love it. The podcast endorses him.
Oh, if we could sponsor
Heavily.
him, we would. But some other mob's fucking sponsoring him and unhogging all the glory. So, otherwise
We'll give you £5.
Yeah, we'll give him £5 and a box.
We'll get a shareholder. We'll get a shareholder of his sponsorship of away shirt or some shit.
Yeah. So anyway, he came in. He was obviously a Okonkwo was dropped and Howard came in and he's got an assist. I don't think Okonkwo's ever had an assist. So look, I love Okonkwo. I think he's got some probably things to work through with his wrist issues quite clearly because I think if you actually look at the footage, one of his saves against when he was playing against Bolton, he punched the ball away. But if you actually watch him, I think it was around the 60th minute mark, he actually punches the ball away with his left. But what is interesting is that he's going up with his right as well, but all of a sudden he drops his right and sticks with his left and punches the ball away with his left, which goes to tell me that maybe there's something there that we're not actually being told, that maybe he's still nursing it a little bit, so to speak. But what was interesting is there was no Mullen or Palmer in the game. So
No.
And it was a 2-0 win. So
Win.
there
you go. Your guess, by the way.
I love our attack. I'll put that out there. I'll love our attack. But Ollie Rathbone, Holy shit. Holy
Speaking of holy
what
shit,
a
this is a
player.
great segue. Great segue here. I actually need to take a shit. So I'm going to be 2 seconds, or else I will shit myself live on pod. So I will be 2 seconds.
All right, off you go.
A few moments later.
So I think give the player of the season to Rathbone. He's making a very, very strong case for it. But there are there comes a time when you got to look at our team and go, what is going on, right? Because I want to rip this band-aid off. We had a really, really good win against Northampton, and it was away, right? And we beat Bolton away to secure a spot in the semi-finals of the Virtue Trophy. But we come to the game this morning, and it's like the boys forgot how to play. And this was what's really concerning because we went with this same team, as you would. But it was like for much of that game, especially when Parky decided to put 3 strikers on, there was no midfield.
Nah.
And I just think that we were missing Elliot Lee. I think that he's the glue in that midfield. I honestly do. So we want to talk about Elliot Lee. We talk about that game and the games that he's missed because I honestly do think we've been missing him a little bit.
Yeah.
His
I mean,
creativity, his runs with the ball, he gives us that directness, the sharpness in passing. I mean, Ollie Rathbone, what he pulled off this morning and his dribbling skills looked amazing, but there was just no connection there. We played so sloppy. Other than that absolute thunderbolt goal from Ollie Rathbone, we just played so sloppy.
it's a bit hard because, look, I mean, that to kind of go back a step, that game against Bolton was at home and we won that one. The one against Port Vale was away, and then the one against Crawley was away or in. So your point still stands that, what are we doing differently? And then we lost to Stevenage at home. So if we're going off of non-trophy games at home, we've lost the last 2, which doesn't seem that bad, but considering we drew against Birmingham before that,
I know what
it's
it is.
crazy.
I know what it is.
Do it
I've got the answer. We should
if you say Elliot Lee.
ever play a team that has a first name in its name. We lost for the Steves from Stevenage, and now we lost the Leytons from Orient. So,
But I mean,
play a team that doesn't have a first name for its name, and we'll win. There we go. I said it.
Jesus, fuck me dead. All right. Well, I mean, that's the mic drop, I guess. But in all seriousness, and I know that that's your segue to move on to this Leyton Orient game, which is a great one to do.
We're talking about it right now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. So, look, Rathbone at the 15-minute mark, scoring, gets us up and about. You just think, fuck me, this kid is good. At home, you're like 1-0 this early on. This might be a game which we can actually sit back and thoroughly enjoy.
I thought
Then it just fell
exactly the
apart.
same thing.
Yeah, it just fell apart. It just looked, and I'm like, I'm just going to go off with some stats here for this game. The reason I'm going off of this is, weirdly, the possession was quite close. It was 52-48. We actually had more of an expected goal percentage, but that's such a bullshit one. But it's because we had 19 shots on goal and only 4 on target. They had 11 shots on goal with 5 on target. The big one for me, and I mean, we can get into it in a little bit more depth over the coming weeks, I'm sure, but I think, and this is something that maybe I'm just over analyzing here, but from corners, I feel like they've just been wasted. Like, we had 7 corners, not that many, but still a significant amount. And I just don't think we make the most of them. I think when maybe it's because of the different league we're in and it's just not as easy, but obviously we're talking when we were in National League, shit, even League Two, set pieces around a corner could save us games, win us games, and get around that. I don't know. Again, maybe I'm just clutching at straws here, but I'm trying to figure out what's lacking other than a player. Like, yes, you're right. Elliot Lee being out of the side is definitely not great, but again, he wasn't in the best form either. Do you know what I mean? So everyone's been quite off this season. He's been one of the best of them, but he's been quite off in comparison. So whether it's maybe set pieces we're not looking great in, like you said, we lost a bit of that not formation, but that structure around the middle when we tried to do the three strikers for a little bit, and that kind of just, I don't know, fell apart for me. But I don't think it was from lack of chances. I hated
straight up hoofball.
Yeah, it did. It just went straight over the top.
Just straight over the top, straight to the forwards. No mids, no pushing the ball through the midfield, no linking plays, no stringing together passes. Just get it up the front and let the boys up the front do the work. And the problem is that we're getting bit on the counter attack every single damn fucking time. And I wanted to hear Phil Parkinson turn around and say, I fucked that one up, but he didn't. Sometimes you got to admit to your mistakes, and I honestly think that was part of it.
I mean, definitely, but I mean, at the same time, and this is something that's a little bit of a rarity for us. Usually when we lose, we're looking at goals that are getting into that 70, 80th minute mark, and we start to run out of time. This goal here, obviously 31 minute mark, and then the 50th minute mark, that's what, 40 minutes of football? Do you know what I mean? 40 minutes of football to play, and yeah, it just wasn't the right play, it wasn't the right structure. But again, it wasn't from lack of opportunity. That's the thing that pisses me off. Yes, it was a bit of hoofball. Yes, it wasn't lack of opportunity. It wasn't lack of structure around the midfield. It was seriously something that I think really, really hurt us, is that we're changing so much now that we've kind of lost that identity. Something we brought up in the previous segment, the identity of their waveform has changed. So, there's not that fear of, oh, maybe if I go for this, we might lose it, we might do this. There's that gone. But that home fortress, once you change the soldiers behind the line, eventually, fortress might fall occasionally because there's just not that experience around it. And I know that's a fucking piss weak excuse because players aren't in form. We're not playing the right style. Management needs to take a bit of a hard look at themselves at the moment, in the sense of, we've got these paid up, cashed up players in the striking positions, and they're not putting them away. Whether that's them or whether that's something that needs to be structurally changed. Maybe Smith needs to be put alongside Mullen. Maybe Rodriguez needs to be put alongside Marriott. I don't know, but something needs to give, because the identity of the Wrexham football we've been playing, especially even the previous 4 games, like we just mentioned, we went on some wins there, right? What's changed?
Well, I think honestly, Smith needs to start. He's too good. Right?
Agreed.
He's better than what we've got.
And we're paying him too much to sit on the bench as well.
Exactly. He needs to start. So Smith starting, that's a given. To me, that's a given, because he's too good. And we've seen the runs he makes, how he's able to slip in behind the line. He likes to flirt with the offside just a little bit and catch the defenders off guard, and he does it so well. And that's what makes him really good. And he's quick. So Smith has to start. I would argue he's definitely our best striker. So that means you could probably swap out J-Rod, so you'd probably look at
I would, mate. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too hard on him.
To see Fletcher and Smith together, actually. Because Fletcher's a really smart, gifted player, but
I mean, it is. I think, and this is another thing: is we only see the 90 minutes on the pitch on a weekend. Shit, maybe the 180 if we count these midweek games. But Park is obviously seeing something on the training track that says these two together work. And in other games, you probably argue, yeah, you're right, it does, and fuck, let's keep it going. But when you've got midweek games like we have had. Sorry, what I mean is we're having 2 games in a week and you have the rotation there as much as it's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, maybe a 36-year-old, 37-year-old.
It just sucks.
It's a bit of a rest.
It just sucks. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts my heart. I have to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch that.
I mean, it's shit, mate. It is. It's shit. But at the end of the day, mate,
I need help, man. I need to talk to someone. I need some hugs. I'm so depressed today. Just so depressed, man.
I don't know.
I wish you were here.
Oh God, here we go. Oh Jesus. Anywho, nah, you know what? You're right, and I think this is why it's so cathartic when we do this podcast, because we keep the content. We go, right, here's the topics, this game. We don't talk about what we have written down in our notes. We don't have anything like that talked about. And we can kind of let out our frustration or even our sorrows and just go, fuck, man, I need a hug. That was bullshit. And you're right, in the morning, and right now it's okay. I mean, I don't know if it's okay, but it's not stupid. It is a stupid time, but we're in contention, right? Yes, we're a fair few points behind Wickham now, but
still in contention.
We're in contention. That's it. So getting up for that shit is okay, because at the end of the day, we're in contention. I feel bad for the fans, and this is where perspective comes into play. And I know that the long-term fans, lifelong fans will come into it. If you told anyone that we'd be third at this point in the season, we'd bite your fucking arm off, right? They'd bite your fucking arm off. Do you know what I mean? So, you'd bite Elliot Lee's dick. We get it. But
no, I said I'd grab you by the dick, not bite Elliot Lee's dick. No,
I heard you, mate. I heard you. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking of the teams. Like, I'm just looking at the table now just to kind of get a bit of perspective on it all. But shit, looking at Burton, Crawley, Shrewsbury. I mean, not that we give a fuck.
I'm just going to stop you right there. Do it. Because I want to make this known to everyone right now, right? Wickham still has to face Stockport away. They still have to face Birmingham, and they still have to face Huddersfield. So they've still got some very tough games ahead of them. Our run-in looks a shitload different. Our run-in, if we can get our form right, our run-in actually looks pretty damn good. I think
it's quite similar, other than obviously Birmingham. We've already got that under the belt. We've got Huddersfield. We've got Wickham. We've got Stockport. So we're in a bit of a similar boat, I would say. You're right. They have to face those teams and they could drop points, but we could easily drop points against these guys as well. So trying to be the pessimist here, but at the end of the day, we do have a very similar run-in the sense that we have Wickham, we have Stockport, and we have Huddersfield. We just don't have Birmingham anymore. And what did we get out of those 2 matches? What total points did we bring? 1.
Oh, we got 1 point out of the Birmingham matchup. Both ways.
Which Wickham might do the same. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of looking at it and going, there is still a way to go. There is still mountains to get. And at the moment, unfortunately, it's just ourselves. Look, and also I don't want to, Leyton played well as well, but stats didn't lie either. We had our opportunities and we fucked them.
Oh my gosh.
We squandered them.
Did they fucking waste time or what? Oh,
I mean, if you're up for
dude.
40 minutes without scoring, 40 minutes of play, you're up and you're trying to hold that lead, I'd waste fucking 40 minutes.
I
I'd waste
get
40
it.
minutes
I
against
get
it.
it. It's just fucking toxic, man. When you see that shit happening, then you got like,
It's
their
frustrating,
goalie
mate.
like just celebrating every single save he makes and just going nuts. And dude, I wanted to fucking smack that goalie clean in the fucking nose, because he was pissing me right off. And he made a few good saves. I'll give him that. But dude, the wasting time thing, man. The flopping, the way their players like fucking rolling around, goes off for 30 seconds and comes back on, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I was just like, fucking hell, man. Like these guys were wasting a lot of time. And the one thing I cannot stand about football is wasting time, especially when you're on the losing end.
And I mean, it is also at a pretty important points. Again, I was just checking the table just then, and Leyton then are now clear 3 points in the playoff spots, which if they don't take full 3 points, they're only one, or they don't take any points, then they're still fighting it out. So it's a big win in any case. Yes, everyone comes for the Wrexham, but at the end of the day, you're looking at a side that is now 3 points clear into playoffs.
And the most informed side in the competition at the moment.
Yeah. So
Haven't lost an away game since October.
fair dues, mate. Fair dues. You got to give them their fair dues. And at the end of the day, mate, the only people I believe at the moment stopping us is ourselves, just the cohesion. And it's always going to happen when you bring people in and you change the squad so much. But in saying that, we didn't have the cohesion prior either in patches. You know what I mean? There were patches where we're like, fuck, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I just hope it's that same thing where it's just another rough patch. We'll come out of it with a couple 4-5 on the trot, and then we'll be back in action.
Since December, our form dropped, and we've been struggling to re-find it. Because we had that really good run in, and we won a lot of games, and very, very rarely did we suffer a defeat. And then December hit, and for some reason, it just went tits up. So I'm hoping the boys find out. And just like last season, we found form in the latter half of the season around about this time. I'm hoping that starts to come good now. And maybe, hopefully, that we can look at that and say that's our last big loss, and we can just look at draws and wins from now on. That will be just chef's kiss.
Just kiss, mate. Let's it. Look, mate. I've harped on enough about it, but I'm looking forward to next week. I tell you, so I'm looking forward to that one.
Away.
Can I be big? Can I be big? I love it's. It's always fun playing teams you moved up the leagues with, and I think Mansfield's no different. We had some great tussles last season.
Yeah, but Mansfield is shit right now. They're in real bad form.
Fuck.
They're struggling.
Well, Stevenage was shit, and then we got rolled at home. Leyton, yes, look, in form, but not our greatest of rivals. Again, take points. We got to give them credit. They're up with us, and on any given day, anything can happen in football. Yes, there is shit. We need to turn it around. Let's see.
Yeah, let's see.
What are you thinking, Chief?
What are you thinking for Mansfield, eh? Look, well, I look at the Stevenage form, for one, and Stevenage were typically a team that does not let many goals in. They're quite stringent in defence, so I can sort of see that.
Mansfield?
No, I'm talking about Stevenage. Hang on, I'll get to my point. Get to my point. I promise you. And then I look at obviously Leyton Orient, who has the best away form and the most informed side in the competition right now, and we got caught napping. I don't see us doing the same against Mansfield. Mansfield don't have any of that to go for. They're quite frankly, they're not in the best form. I think they've lost quite a few of the last 5 games. And I think coming up against us on the weekend, well, I'm just hoping that it carries the same form. I am going to go for a 3-0 win.
Fair call. I mean, you're right. They haven't kept a clean sheet in 12 matches. They haven't won a match in 9 attempts and have scored 4 goals only in their last 5 matches. Wrexham have scored 10 goals in the last 5 matches. Wrexham have won the last 3 matches against Mansfield, and we mention it every week, but Ryan Barnett still keeps his rank in second in big chances created in the competition with 12. Yeah, look, anything can happen in football, and a draw wouldn't surprise me. I think you're right, though. Clean sheet seems about right. And I think you're going with the 3-0. I think possibly similar to what we did against Northampton. I'm going with 2-0. Again, wouldn't be surprised if something crazy happened and we got a draw. But I will tell you this: if we drop all points against them, there'll be words had on next episode for sure.
Oh, yes. Yes, they will. Just like there was words had in the last episode, which was really juicy and interesting. But let's get to the final segment where we just discuss some shit. And I do want to talk about the Virtue Trophy. So let's go. Next, after the outbreak, enjoy it. Let's go. Woo! So, Virtue Trophy. We are through the semi-finals, or if you're an American, semi-finals.
And I'm rocking a semi right now.
You're rocking a semi right now. I tell you what, but it's against the first name team. We got Peterborough, so we had the Steves from Stevenage.
Shit.
We have the Leytons from Orient. Now we got the Peters from Peterborough.
Call it. It's over, mate. Call it. It's done. It's done. Fuck me.
Those bloody first named teams again. I tell you what, they'll fucking be the death of me. But that said, we did have a really big outing against Peterborough last time, and they have to come to the Stoke Kairos, which I like to say is a fortress, but maybe not.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. So, semi-finals. So it's already the results came through this morning that Birmingham are through to the finals. So should we beat Peterborough, which is stand a really good chance of doing that, we will be versing Birmingham at Wembley. Now, could you imagine a bigger game than that at Wembley?
I think I made the joke last week about the FA Cup last season, but I think you're right. No, you're right. In this league, in this kind of form, and with and the haters and the fucking keyboard warriors, all are saying the same shit. Which I'll let them have their Hollywood Super Bowl. No one gives a fuck. I'll tell you what,
they'll be watching it.
They'll be watching, and also the eyes of the world will be watching, because not only Wrexham fans everywhere around the world, but Birmingham's doing the same thing at the moment with Tom Brady as well being minority ownership. Is he minority or majority? Anyways, he's one of the owners there, so there's going to be that shit. Like if we were to get to a Wembley final against them, mate, you will see A-lister after A-lister on both sides of the fence. Coming out to watch this game, and people will fucking seethe. And it's not what it's about. It's about the fucking teams who are playing right now. And I'll be honest, mate, that's what we give a shit about. We care about who's walking on that park. But I tell you what, it doesn't hurt the old revenue streams when you can get a big game like that for what would normally be an irrelevant trophy any other year for TV rights wise. So honestly, I would love it to be that way. Fingers crossed. But you're right. They've got Peter in their name, so we're fucked.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if we can break the hoodoo of the first name teams, because
it's only a name. It's only a fucking name.
And they're always, other than Leyton, which is rather a new posh name.
Leyton Hewitt.
Steves, and you got your Peters.
Your Steves and your Petes.
Steves and Petes.
And then you got and then Leyton Hewitt.
We got no Peters in the fuckheads either. Come to think of it.
Shit, we're really lacking.
We are lacking, I tell you what. But
we're not lacking though. You want to know why we're not lacking? Because we've got the fucking best bunch of fuckheads on the planet.
Oh, we do. Which leads us to this segue, because if you want to become a fuckhead and you want to be part of our private Discord, you want to have 10% off our merch store, you want shout outs every single week on the podcast,
You want a
and you
wristy
want to
from
get early
Rousey?
ad-free access every single week, become a fuckhead. It'll cost you $5 a month. That's all. That's all. We give you back more than that to our lovely fuckheads and our executive producers as well. Multiple tiers, plenty of choice.
Mate.
What are you waiting for? Links in
What, dude? You're on it. That is a good sale, mate. That is a fucking pitch and a half, mate. That was like one of those radio ads. It's like, what are you waiting for? Come in, get your carpets, get your fucking things. We got 50% off. All right, like yeah. Anyways, you're doing really well, mate. Really proud of you for your salesmanship.
So we
Yeah.
got shout outs, which Adrian reads every single week in his
Oof.
lovely voice that he has.
Yes, I do. Because I've got the executive producers to start off with. And every week I go on about how important it is that we have all of the people there, not only our executive producers, but our fuckheads in general. The reason being is money goes towards keeping this podcast afloat. That's, subscriptions to keep things on platforms, it's subscriptions to make sure editing is going right, but also to get our asses over to Wrexham in November next year, which,
This year.
genuinely this year, sorry, fuck me, it's 2025, this year now. Can you believe it?
10
And
months away, mate. 10 months away.
It's just, and from the bottom of my heart, Sarah, Anthony, Welsh Techie, Bryant, Not PC, and Mad Al, our executive producers, paying the top tier for top blokes and blokettes that they are. And we've got the rest of our fuckheads to thank: Aaron, Will, Chris W, John, Anthony R, Deandra, Mark, Drew, Neb, Ryan, Jake, Vincent, and a Benjamin. And to be honest, and local pundit. Why have I not added this? Because is it? There he is. Oh no, I know why. Because I have him written as Josh.
Oh, you have it written as Josh. Joshua Anthony, the local pundit. Shout out, local pundit. Great show.
Did we just dox him?
No. I think everyone knows his name's Josh. Do yourself a
kidding, I'm
favor.
kidding.
Go Google search Josh Anthony, because he's got some really good photos up, some good headshots. He's even got his own IMDb page. This dude is hooked up, I tell
He's
you.
legit, bro. He's legit. When we had him on and we did our little research prior, going, not only did we knew a bit about him, obviously, because he's a mate of ours, but when you go into his little, I say discography, but like his fucking, he's got good shit, and honestly his takes are really good. Like I've said this and I'll say it again, and maybe I've said it off air, but one of, if not one of the greatest and my favorite types of mediums is talkback, but not just talkback radio, but talkback like television, talkback streaming. It's one of my favorite mediums. It's why I love watching people on Twitch as well. He does it really good on YouTube. There used to be an AFL show, just shout out to the Aussie Rules fans out there. You might remember, with Clinton Gribus, rest in peace. Clinton Gribus used to host a show called White Line Fever, and it was literally what he does. He has his mic, he has his camera, talks about the games, talks about what's been happening, and then gets the callers to call in, like Rousey, which I don't understand how they let you back, by the way.
Oh, I don't either, but they just keep doing it. But speaking of, when are you going to do it?
I've asked
You
him.
were supposed to arrange an interview with him.
I said to him I can do any time, and I messaged him saying anytime, and I haven't received any response. So
Josh, get off your fucking ass, mate. Come on.
I mean, my message I sent was the day that you guys added me to a message. Rousey adds me to a message with local pundit. Hey, you should do an interview with Adrian, this time. And our local pundit's like, no worries, looking forward to it. Let's organise it soon. And then it never happened. And that's probably not his fault either. He's probably not seen me about lately, just because of life being fucking upside down for me, going through a divorce, moving house, going through everything that happens in life. Poor bastard's probably like, I don't really want him on right now. He's probably not. We're going to be a real sad bald man.
Oprah episode.
Yeah, turn into fucking Jerry Springer. He'll bring on my ex-wife on fucking stream, and I'll be like, what the fuck? Anyways,
Adrian, this is your life.
This is your life, Jesus. But I can joke about it now.
I just want to say that discussion you and I had last week was hands down one of the best discussions we ever had, talking about the state of football in in Australia.
Dude, can I say something that is so fucking funny? You were right. It's one of my favorite segments we've done. Maybe not for the viewers. I don't know if you like that segment or not. Please let us know in the comments down below if you've got a better understanding of it and why it's so fucked. I don't want to fuck his name up, but his name's Joey K, I want to say. He's a pretty good, Joe K Football, sorry. So Joe K Football, right? He's pretty popular. He's got pretty big following on his Insta. And I think he does TikToks and shit as well. But the point is, he's like the go-to TikToker for Australian football. And that's talking about the National Second Division, the Australian Championship, and talking about it. Holy fuck. He came out with a video, I want to say a day after us, and I feel like either he saw it or maybe it was just coincidence, but he said the exact same thing we did. The exact same thing in a really cool little video, short and sweet. Check it out on his Instagram. It's Joe K Football. And he basically says, promotion relegation is needed. No more franchise clubs. Fuck that off. Any franchise club that can't keep afloat, take him out, replace him with someone who's in the Australian Championship. And then he said, I couldn't believe it. He said exactly what we were saying, where he said, separate them into the tiers, do the tiers 1, 2, and 3. You can then also separate them into areas. So what they're already doing, which currently in the Australian Championship. So, for example, the Adelaide clubs and the Perth clubs will be in the same group because that's their closest. And then the New South Wales and Vic teams will be closest, and so on and so forth, right, in their groups. He's saying separate them into the tiers. That's what Japan did. And it worked so successfully because then they went, right, we'll do the tiers. All right, it's working. Let's introduce promotion relegation. They introduced it. Then they added another tier. And then they did it again. And now look at the J League, mate. Look at the Japanese league right now. J League 1, I think they call it, or J1. It is J1, J2, J3. And he's saying exactly what we're saying. A1, A2, A3, the A-League needs to change.
All the way down, just like the EFL does, or the English football leagues. They have it all the way down. They got like 9, 12, 16 tiers, whatever it is, all the way down. So even your Joe Blow at the bottom in your Farmers League or your Amish League or whatever.
Has something to play.
Has a chance
to say Amish League.
Yeah, Amish League. Just has a chance. Has a sniff at becoming a Premier League club. Like, just you know. So
just imagine an Amish team, just like all of their kits are sewn together by themselves.
Get the lads from Letterkenny, you know.
Letterkenny, mate, is one of the best shows.
Get some Shawsy out there.
Shawsy.
But anyway, I digress. It was a really, really great conversation. So by all means, go back to last week's episode, pay it a visit, and have a listen to what we have to say about the state of Australian football, because it moved me, even listening back to it and editing it and all that. And when I had to fully go over it, and I'm listening to us talking about promotion and relegation within the teams, or, you know, having your Kelmscott Kangaroos having a shot at going into the A-League. And it just moved me. I'm like, damn, we need that. We need that. And I reckon if you do it right, big call. But if you do it right, football or soccer will be bigger than the AFL.
Shit, that's a huge call. You know what's fucked? Australian rules football is older than football.
No fucking way.
It is.
Bullshit.
Look it up.
I'm going to look that up.
Yep.
I never knew that.
Who's your oldest club? Sheffield, right? Sheffield. Who is it? Oldest club?
The first recorded match of Australian rules football was played in Melbourne in 1859. And the first official rules were written in 1859.
Yep. So Sheffield their club was founded in 1857, and then they initially played games under Sheffield rules and did not officially adopt the new FA rules until 1878. So Sheffield FC 1857.
1863 for normal football. You're right. Holy shit.
So technically
Football.
Sheffield was founded earlier, but the game of football that we know it is slightly newer than the Australian rules football. So it's quite funny. Because I was looking at things like I think Geelong Footy Club. I want to say is 1859 founded. 1859. The Geelong Footy Club, and then like you got clubs like Celtic, which I think was 1888. You're just like, oh shit, really? You're telling me that the Geelong Football Club's older than Celtic?
I'm spun out right now.
It's cooked.
I'm literally spun out right now because I did not know that AFL was.
It's why it's so big. It's why when people go, why is the world game not so big in Australia? And unfortunately, it's because they've been competing for the 150, 180 years. So,
well, there you go. I have been edumacated.
Can we call this episode Edumacated?
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Love it.
All right. Well, I think we should end that there.
That's a good ending.
And cry myself to sleep.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to go have a sad wank.
This shock and awe of this loss, which, ouch.
Hurting, Chief. I'm hurting.
Yeah, I'm hurting too. Might go watch The Orville.
Yeah, it's a nice one to cheer you up.
Yeah, or The Expanse. I don't know which one yet. I'm going to decide which one I'm going to watch. But let us know what we should watch in the comments down below.
I will bet my bottom dollar first comment is Pornhub.
You're on to something. Dude, it's been a pleasure. What a week. Let's hope the weekend is a bit more uplifting and we kick some ass against the Mansfield. Just the manly men from Mansfield are going to get their asses handed to them. So let's keep hold of the hope. It's not over yet. We can still get automatics and we can still get promoted. So we are looking good. Let's do it, guys. Thank you for joining us. Adrian, thank you for joining me, mate.
Thank you, bud.
We are the Beards Wrexham Podcast and we will see you next week. Let's go. Woo-hoo.